Another aspect of complex number is where we have complex number that is divided by another complex number. And that's the situation here. So we are given two numbers, u and v. And then they are saying we have to write that. So fraction line u on top, which is what? 4 minus 6i, 4 minus 6i, and v at the bottom, which is 1 plus I. And we have to write it in this form, meaning not as a fraction, but a complex number that has a real value, and then it has the imaginary value. So how do we deal with complex number divided by a complex number? We multiply, and then top and the bottom is multiplied by the conjugate of the bottom number. Now, conjugate, fancy word. What does that mean? We change these to opposite sign. So the real value remain the same, 1 and 1, but instead of plus I, we're going to be multiplying by minus I. So that's what conjugate is. How do we do that multiplication? Well, the rest is pretty straightforward. We have to multiply everything by everything. So on top of the fraction, I have to multiply the bracket by 4, but then again, I have to multiply by 6i. Now, when it comes to the bottom of the fraction, we can either do the same or we can use a shortcut. When I have two brackets that have the same items in them, but the only difference is that one is plus, one is minus. As you can see it here, I have 1 and I have 1 here. Then I have I and I have I here. And the only difference is plus and minus. We can use a shortcut because that will equal to that first number to the power of 2 minus, and then the second number to the power of 2. That is a very handy shortcut to know, especially for the calculation with complex number. Okay, let's do our multiplication. 4 multiplied by 1, that is 4. 4 multiplied by minus I, not forget, that is just minus 4i. Minus 6i multiplied by 1 is minus 6i. Minus 6i multiplied by minus I. So let me just write it. So you have minus 6 multiplied by I. Don't forget when there is no sign between the numbers, unless there is a multiplication sign, and that is multiplied again by minus I. So obviously that 6, we are only considering there is nothing to multiply with. 1 minus and minus together will give me plus. So I have plus 6. And the only thing I can do, these two i's multiply by each other, I can write in a short version as an I to the power of 2. And I know one thing about complex number. When I have I to the power of 2 in my calculation, I'm going to change that to minus 1. Now, let's apply that formula at the bottom of the fraction. So my first number to the power of 2, my first number is 1. So that is 1 to the power of 2 minus, and my second number in this case is I. So it will be I to the power of 2. And again, I'm saying to myself, we're going to change that to minus 1. Okay, so let's do the next line. So I have 4, then I have minus 4 and minus 6 together, two of them, I have minus 10i, and then I'm going to change that to minus 1, and then the same thing at the bottom of the fraction, change that to minus 1. Now, what can we do here? Well, those are numbers 4 and 6 multiplied by minus 1, so we put that all in the calculator, we press equal, and we get here minus 2, so minus 2, then we have, I'm saying minus and I'm writing plus, that's not very good, minus 10i, and then again here, at the bottom of the fraction, they are all numbers, so I put all of that in the calculator, press equal, and I have my value that is 2. Now, my complex number cannot remain in the form of the fraction. I have to divide that fraction. That 2 is a denominator for 2 and is a denominator for minus 10. So we can write it minus 2 over 2 minus 10 over 2i. And again, if I put that in my calculator, we get that that is minus 1. And then the second fraction in calculator, and we get is -5. And let's not forget about I. And again, I'm saying that this division of a complex number, very common in your exam.